Hey guys, welcome back. A couple of months ago, I released a video showing you the difference between the professional version and DIY version of several different service information platforms. Now, in that video, I showed you that the professional version of Protoman or Mitchell was different than the DIY version. Well, I got an email a couple of weeks ago stating that they've upgraded the DIY version, and I want to see how much they've upgraded it. Is it going to be the same as the professional version now, or is it just a better version of what we had before? So I already logged in and bought a subscription. Now the first thing I noticed is when I went to log in, it took me to a login screen that's just like Protoman. And my password wasn't saved, or not the correct one, because I have a Protoman account, so that password was saved, but I didn't have the password for my Mitchell DIY. So if that happens to you, you may have to go to your password manager if you don't have it written down or don't remember it, and find out what that password was for that site, and then it'll work for the new site. Once I logged in, I ended up right back at the eautorepair.net, and that is the Mitchell DIY website. I bought a subscription to that same vehicle we were working on in the previous videos. So I'm going to go ahead and click on this vehicle, which is a 2015 Chevrolet Suburban. Now, when we did the video before, we were looking up some of the common problems with that vehicle, like lifter failure, and I think I looked up the procedure for that. So even though I bought the vehicle, there are some options here, and if you don't know all your options, you're not stuck with the option you pick. You get the access to all the different trim packages. 4-wheel drive, 6L80. Let's go ahead and use this vehicle. And I'm just going to punch in lifters. I think that's what we did before. I have slept since then, so I'm not 100% sure. Go to lifter, and we are going to go to engine or R&R procedure, OEM R&R remove and replace procedure. And it has it right here. This is kind of like some hyperlinks here for us. We can click on those. It'll take us to different parts of this repair manual, or we can just scroll down and look at it. So we have valve lifter follower guide assembly replacement. I'm not 100% sure, but that almost looks like the follower for the high pressure fuel pump at the back of the engine. Let's go ahead and scroll down through here, see if we can get to the lifter replacement. Okay, so here we go. We have valve lifter replacement, removal procedure. We do have hyperlinks. This looks just like the professional Protoman version. So this is a huge upgrade to what we had before with Mitchell DIY. I suspect that 95% of this website is going to be identical to the professional version. So all the links are active. See, when we get to this spot here, they kind of jump over a lot of stuff, and then it says remove the valve lifter guide bolt. Well, how did we get to that point? We got there by removing the cylinder head. So it says refer to cylinder head replacement left or right. If we click this, it's going to take us right to that part of the repair manual, and it's going to show us that. But at the same time, we're going to have some stuff here for this procedure that we have to link. This is just like the OEM repair manual. Oftentimes you have to link to a different part of the repair manual to take apart other sub-assemblies before you get to the part you actually need. So we're going to drain the cooling system, remove the injector rails, remove the exhaust, remove the valve rocker arms and push rods, and then we can remove the cylinder head. After all that, then we can go back to our valve lifter replacement section, which was right here. And we can just pick up where we left off, go through the process. We could do the installation, have all of our torque specs. Let's exit out of here. We go up here to the top. Now I'm kind of old school. I still use the old service manual quite a bit, or the old navigation of the service manual. But the common place that you're going to end up is under this One Search Plus tab, which is where we're at. So we can go back to home. We can enter something new. I really like this home screen for easy navigation to different things, especially if you're working at home and you're not familiar with a lot of different vehicles, but you actually have a hoist in your garage. Sometimes you might be worried, am I lifting this vehicle correctly? Well, right here is tire information and lifting points. So if we click on that, we're going to get vehicle lift points, tire fitment, DIL part numbers, I'm not sure what that is, and then some common reset procedures with some aftermarket TPMS tools. So let's go to the lift points here, and it's going to give us the lifting positions where we should lift. Now these big arrows are probably where we're going to lift on a 2-post hoist. So right in front of the front control arms, and then right behind the body mounts here. And then there's some identification stuff there. Let's see if they give a legend for those identification points. And they do. Lower control arm contact patch up here. So we could probably lift from those. Let me see if we need to read a little bit. Yes, they actually have quite a bit of information. Typically, where the big arrows are is where you're going to use a 2-post lift. Let's open up this. So it's going to give us different truck sizes and SUV sizes and show us where to put those lifts. Actually, this is the jack if we were jacking up just one axle. So this is more like owner's manual information. Close that. Rear hoist pad, if we're going to put it on the hoist, we're going to lift right in front of that rear control arm. If we have it on a drive-on lift and we're going to lift it up with the telescoping jack in the center, they want us to lift from the axle tube here and here. Most generally, anywhere along this axle tube you can lift on without an issue. So that is kind of nice to have that information if you have a home garage with a lift and you're unfamiliar with lifting practices. We can go to tire information. We have the inflation value. Sometimes there'll be multiple tire size options and those values may change. We have our torque, 140 foot-pounds, our rim size, and our bolt pattern. Let me exit out of here. From this front screen, we're going to go to fluid capacities. This is going to be a common place for professionals and DIY mechanics to end up, because if you're working on the vehicle, oftentimes you need fluids. You need to know what kind and how much. So we have like refrigerant, front and rear with 1234 YF refrigerant. We are looking at 1.87 pounds, or with YF you're normally in kilograms or grams, so 0.84 kilograms. If it has front and rear with 134, so this is kind of a split year option. I see these come in, and when they come in, we can't estimate it until we see the vehicle because we don't know what kind of refrigerant is under the hood. So if it has 134, it's 2.03 pounds or 0.92 kilograms. And I'm kind of surprised that this isn't a little bit higher with front and rear, but on that vehicle, it must be enough. So we can scroll down here, and sometimes there'll be multiple things: differential gear oil, and we have options with our RPO code numbers. So we'll have to look up the RPO code numbers from the vehicle to find out which axle we have. Sometimes you can Google it and just find identification for like the 8.6 versus the 9.5 axle, and there'll be a different number of bolts on the rear cover. And sometimes that's the easiest way to do it if you don't know how to look up RPO codes. Now, when I open this up, it looks like I have less tabs here than I normally have. So what I'm going to do is jump over to the professional version. We'll pick the same vehicle and we'll see what tabs I have here, because I feel like there's one or two that are missing, and that may be the only difference between the DIY and the professional version, but it's probably like an add-on feature. So we have our vehicle selected. This is the professional version. Let's click this drop down. So we have home, OneSearch Plus, estimating guide, quotes, maintenance, SureTrack, community, and the service manual. So our estimating guide and quotes is going to be different, and our SureTrack community. So let's jump back real quick. Well, surprisingly, the DIY shows the estimating guide and the quotes. We just don't have that SureTrack community. So let's check and see if the estimating guide works. And it does. So if you guys are doing some side jobs at the house and you want to know how much a certain job should take so you can quote it out appropriately, then this will work. Or if you just want to see how long the professional labor guide estimate is for that job, so you can figure out if you have enough time to complete that job, you can just punch it in right here. Valve lifters, all of them is 13.3 hours, and it says skill level B. A would be the highest rank on here, B, and then C. I don't think they have anything lower than a C in their labor guide. It even gives you the part numbers for the lifters and the retail price. This isn't always accurate, so make sure to double check that before selling a job. Well, I think that about wraps it up here. The professional version is now almost identical to the DIY version. The only difference is DIY, you're buying each vehicle subscription. Professional is a lot more expensive because it's meant for a shop and you're paying for complete access to all the vehicles. So if you are a technician that does side work, dealer tech, independent, whatever it may be, or even if you're in a different trade completely but you do some work on the side because you know how to work on cars, this is a lot more affordable, makes a lot more sense to just buy a temporary subscription or a DIY subscription to ProDemand or Mitchell1. If you own a vehicle and you plan on doing the maintenance and repairs on that vehicle and owning it for a while, they do have long-term subscriptions, like a year or 4 years, and the price per year goes down drastically the longer that subscription is. So it's not that much more expensive to buy a 4-year access to that vehicle versus buying the 1 month. So if you're planning on keeping it, you may just want to buy the full 4 years, and then you're covered for as long as you have that vehicle, or at least the average ownership length of a vehicle. If you guys are interested in this, I will put a link to it down below. I will make a small commission off of that, but it won't cost you anything extra. So it helps me put out more videos like this because a lot of these videos do cost me money out of my pocket. If you guys have any questions or comments, put those down below. If you want to see more videos like this, subscribe, click the bell. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time.